Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Toshiba laptop. Alright, this is, let's see here. It's a Toshiba Satellite P75-A7200. Alright, looks like it's turning itself on. I'm going to have to turn it off. But the reason why we're going to be opening this up is their charge port broke off. And it actually got stuck to their charger. I didn't know that. So this is actually dangerous because I plugged this into the wall and you can see these pins are exposed. So if you were to like short those, you can actually electrocute yourself. I'm just going to unplug this. Well, if it was plugged in and you shorted those. Anyways, it's turning itself on right now, so I need to make sure to shut it down. But yeah, let me see if I can show you. I'm probably going to have to use some hot glue or something to stick this together. Oops, not this side. So here's the broken port area, and you can see it's just broken and the wires are just exposed in there. Okay, so this computer's pretty slow, so give me a second. I'm gonna make sure to shut it down and then I'll be back. Alright, so it finally turned itself off. Let's go ahead and remove the battery and any screws in here. Wow, these screws are like super deep down there. Let's see if we can remove them. Alright, so pull these two tabs to the side. Okay, this one stays, and then this one is on a spring, so you have to pull that, then go under here, and then just lift it at an angle like that, and there we go. The battery is removed. This looks like an aftermarket model battery, but it's a PA5024U-1BRS. Alright. If you have your own battery, you'll want to check for the model number there to get a matching one. Sometimes these laptops, they'll have like extra big batteries that you can put on, and then the laptop will basically sit at an angle. The full model number here is a Satellite P75-A7200. Alright, I think that's what's on the front. Yeah, it's same thing. Alright, so let's go ahead now and start taking it apart to get on the inside. Okay, so this laptop hopefully isn't too difficult to take apart. Usually these older ones aren't too bad. We're going to be using a PH1 or JAS1 screwdriver, and we're going to remove all the screws yeah, from the laptop. It looks like, I don't know if somebody tried taking this apart before and then got stuff stuck. So I don't know, all these screws are like super deep down. Maybe that's just the design. Alright, so yeah, again, we're using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. Okay, and yeah, so let's go ahead and continue. If this video helps you out, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, other than that, or if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. I also have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. Same profile picture, but zoomed in because it's a close look at stuff. Currently, those videos also go on this channel. But I'm hoping to eventually have that as a completely separate thing. So yeah, like and comment and subscribe to that channel, and hopefully that'll help me get that goal done sooner. Alright, anyways, it looks like there's a little rubber foot here. So most likely this had like little rubber feet covering all these screws, and I guess most of them fell out. Okay. But anyways, we're going to continue removing these screws. Okay. To remove this cover here, after you undo that screw, you just lift up like this. There are clips, just wiggle it, and there we go. Alright, so there's the bottom cover removed. I'm going to have to clean this stuff off. It's a little bit dusty, so usually you can just use like a toothbrush or whatever, paper towel, kind of wipe it off. Usually I'll use like an air blower after I brush it with a toothbrush, but it looks like this cloth will be enough to get it cleaned up. Alright, so there we go. We cleaned off most of the dust. Alright, we'll set the thing aside. I would recommend upgrading this to an SSD. It has a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. You can upgrade this to a 2.5-inch SATA SSD. I'll let the customer know, and then they can let me know if they want to upgrade that or not, because this laptop is super slow. It took forever to start up and shut down. Upgrading this to an SSD would fix that issue. Alright, now that we got those two screws out, we can slide this over just like that, and then we can lift this up. If you put a new hard drive or SSD, you want to take the two screws out of here and transfer that bracket to the new drive. Make sure you take note of the small side and the long side, because that's how you'd have to slide it back in and then get those screws back. Alright, looks like there's two empty slots for RAM here. So actually this thing, you can upgrade the RAM quite a bit. There's the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery here. It's a standard CR2032. You also have the wireless card here. Alright, and the CPU is actually replaceable, upgradable. It's in a socket. You would have to turn this screw here. I'm not sure what size, but that's a Torx screw. Okay, and it's in that slot. So that's what that looks like. We'll be taking this bottom cover off most likely to be able to get the rest out. Alright, there's another little rubber foot thing here. So we're going to have to use some kind of tool to get it out. I'm going to try with this. Okay, oh, I don't know if that's working. I might have to use like a pin or small flathead. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to try a small flathead screwdriver to see if I can get that out. So we'll get in the little gap there and then lift that. Yep, there we go. You can actually see they also have a little hole there for like prying it. There's that. Alright, we'll take out the screw that was hidden there. This CD drive, you can actually replace it with a hard drive caddy, so you can actually add a second hard drive or SSD if you really wanted to. Okay, we're going to take that screw out, and that's how we're going to be able to get the CD drive out. Once you remove that screw, I just slide my fingernail up and down as I kind of pull on this, but you can also like start by pushing this. You can see how it slid out slightly. Okay, and then you can push this all the way out. The thickness of this, I don't have a ruler on hand, but I believe this is the thinner model. You'll want to measure this in millimeters. I think this is like one of the 9 point something millimeters, because it looks to be about a centimeter or so. So yeah, you'll want to measure yours, but you can get a caddy to replace this, and it has the SATA connection. This is smaller than a normal SATA hard drive connector, so the adapter converts it to this size. And then you can actually also take this piece out, but it's a little risky to take this out. Sometimes the clips break. Alright, so there's a lot of screws that are hidden under here that were hidden underneath these this door. So we're going to have to take those screws out. I'm going to put them in a separate kind of pattern on its own, so that way I know those came from underneath that little door. Okay, so we have these two screws, and then we have this one here in the middle. Alright, hopefully you'll be able to kind of follow along. We have another one here. Okay, we have one all the way over here. Okay, what else? And I think that's all of them that were hidden there. Huh. This piece seems like it used to be attached to the hard drive. I don't know if somebody took it out before and then just left it down here on the thing. What is this? You can see it says 9.5. I think that's maybe because the drive was a 9.5 millimeter thick, this kind of drive itself. So I don't know. Normally this I would think would be on top of the drive, but I don't know. I guess we'll leave it down there. I'm just going to kind of space it better because it was weird that it was like diagonal strange. I don't know if there's... Yeah, I don't see any screws that are hidden on there. I just wanted to make sure. Oh, there's two more screws over here, so make sure to remove those. Okay, and then we did take out the CD drive screw from here, so keep that in mind, alright? Okay. Alright, so we got two screws on the CD drive slot area, and then hopefully now we can pop the whole bottom out. Okay, let's see, sometimes you can kind of just pull on here, but there's going to be clips, so I would slide my fingernail underneath. But let me see here. I want to make sure there's no other hidden stuff. Nope. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start prying all around here. I'm getting my fingernail, or sorry, my finger under here. I mean, you can use your nails if you can get under there, and let's see if we can start popping some clips out. Oh, this is going to be tough, isn't it? The clips here are going to be tough to get out. Let's try and start from the opening area of the laptop and see if we can pop it out from there. So I'm pulling up from anywhere I can find and then getting my fingernails under here, this gap. And yep, that's working. Okay. Feels like it's stuck on this side, so we're going to slowly work our way over. Be careful because this area on laptops usually cracks easily. You can lift up from the CD drive and push down on the silver part of the palm rest, and then try and get a pry tool in the side here to help pry it or pop the clips. Okay, oh, actually, this already has a secondary hard drive SATA slot. How did I not notice that? I'm blind. All right, anyways, continue popping the clips. Wow, it's stuck in there. It's stuck in there real good. Okay, trying to pop these clips up and out. Are there hidden screws under here? Possibly. Let's see. I'm going to use my fingernail to try and pry this out. Nope, there's no hidden screw under there. Okay, so... Wait, what? Oh, there's a little raised bump there, so it only can go in one direction. Alright, so, I don't know. This thing is holding itself on really strong with whatever clips are somewhere under in here. I don't see any other clips in there, so I don't know. I'm scared to apply more force because I don't want to crack the plastic. This is an old laptop. So a lot of times when the laptops get old, the plastic becomes more brittle. So yeah, I don't know. Let's try and pry up some more here. Are we missing something? Are there some hidden screws somewhere under here that I'm not seeing? I don't know. I don't see where any other screws would hide. So, maybe I just gotta pry harder. So I'm gonna push down here and pull up and see. Jeez, that's quite a bit of force I'm putting in. It doesn't want to pop out. Do I need to flex this a certain way? Okay, I'm like pushing with my thumb here, and actually more of this side came out, but this side is very stubborn. It doesn't want to come out at all. I'm going to try getting a longer pry tool in there and see if that works. I mean, it looks like the clips are already pried up, so what is holding it? Something here? Is there a clip here that's holding really strong somehow? What is going on? The clips don't want to come out from this side. I see a weird like line here. I wonder if they glued it or something. Do you see this? Do you see that line there? I wonder if it cracked and then they glued it and now it's stuck there. Oh no. No, I don't know. I feel like the pry tool went all the way under, so I don't know what's going on. Something is like holding like right. Oh, okay. This clip. There's a clip here, which I don't know how I'm gonna get that out. I'm gonna try. Oops, that's probably zoomed too much. I'm gonna try lifting this and pulling it that way to basically see if I can get that clip. Oh, there we go. That unhooked from there. And there we go. Now it's lifting. Okay, that's the trick. Kind of push on this area and then lift, and that unhooked that clip there. Be careful because there's this like little thin part that has a slit. If you push there, you might crack that, so kind of push on the more solid area there. Okay, sorry. I know this is taking longer than expected, but hopefully this helps with people kind of understanding how things work. And yeah, because all the laptops I work on, it's the first time I've ever worked on them usually. All right, I'm gonna kind of wiggle this and lift. These clips are gonna be kind of strong, but usually you can just lift straight up and it should pop out, but if not, let me see. kind of wiggle like this. Yeah, these clips are going to be strong. Okay, so I think I can pull this out. You can see the clip, it will come out from there, and then we should be able to lift up, in theory. Okay, pull it that way. Yep, okay, and that worked. So that released the clips. So basically the clips were hooking on to this spot, and this spot. And, oh, is there a wire under here? What is this? There's tape or something holding on. Okay, sorry, I had to grab that tape to keep it from kind of peeling up with it. And there we go, we got the bottom cover off. Yeah, that was way more difficult than I expected. But once you figure out the clips, then it's not too bad. Okay, so now we have this open. Here you can see the broken charge port. Hopefully the replacement one we have is correct. Oh no, is it serious? Are you serious? They put the charge port underneath the motherboard. That is stupid. I'm not going to take the entire motherboard out, but I am going to undo the screws to lift it up, because I quoted them for, I was thinking it was going to be a simple charge port replacement. This is an old laptop, so I wasn't expecting it to be a complete motherboard removal job. So let me actually clean this dust out, and then I'll be back. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, so I dusted it out. All right, cleaned out the dust from there, cleaned out the dust from the fan. Let's go ahead and see what we can do now to get this thing apart. Usually, to be safe, all right, once you get everything, once you disconnect the battery and the power, I didn't do this earlier, but you want to hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This makes it a lot safer to work on. Since I do need to pull the motherboard out, then I figured, let me go ahead and do this. I'm probably not going to pull the motherboard out. I'll just see if I can just lift the motherboard up and get the connector out. But if I can't, then we're going to have to take the whole thing out. You can see the Ethernet port, LAN card, and the two USB ports here are connected right here with a flip latch. You would flip the latch up here, and then you can pull this cable out, and then this cable is attached underneath the motherboard. You have the touchpad, trackpad connector here, flip latch on this side, keyboard connector here. This has these two white pull tabs, so you just slightly pull them out. Usually try and pull them both at the same time. Very little, so be careful not to just pull like really fast like that, because then you can break these off. You have this keyboard. There's a backlight connector. This looks like you just have to use force to kind of slide it out and then push it back in. It will take quite a bit of force. Usually what I do is I'll get a piece of tape and then use that as a pull tab to slide it straight that direction, because you don't want this cable to be like bending, like folding, creasing when you try and pull it. Right, this looks like a speaker connection here. This, you grab the little portion of the connector back here, and then you just wiggle to pull it out. I'm not going to mess with that unless I need to. Fan connector is here. You would pull the white connector, wiggle and pull it up. Make sure you're just pulling on the wings of the very edge of the white connector there. All right, you can see how there's a white connector, and then on the board it's that beige or whatever cream color. Make sure you're not pulling on that cream colored part. All right, again, CPU is under here, 4 screws holding the heatsink into place. You also have to remove the fan, I'm pretty sure, to get that out. You got, again, the wireless card. You can see more close up. CMOS, BIOS, RTC, real-time clock battery is there. If you want to remove this, you push it over that way and then lift it up so that it can clear these two little clips. Then we got this connector here, which is for another speaker, it looks like. All right, obviously you have the wireless antenna wires going over, and the antennas look to be going into the screen. Okay, LCD LVDS connector is this one. There's this black plastic tab that you can use to pull it up. Usually those tabs don't work too well. Sometimes they tear, so I would have to like use my fingernail to kind of pull up on one edge and pry it up. Okay, again, I'm going to try not to do that if I don't have to. And I think that's about it to show on there. So let's go ahead and see about pulling the motherboard up and see if I can replace the charge port. The customer is probably going to wonder why it's taking me so long to do this, but it is what it is. All right, I'm also going to have to put some hot glue or something to secure this in place because the mounting stuff here is all broken off. So yeah, all right, we're gonna pull this wire out here. They hide this wire underneath. Let me actually use this, it'll be easier. So this wire here is the DC jack charge port wire, and it's going underneath the speakers and the antennas and the LCD LVDS connector. So this is the wire to that. Okay, we already undid the screws for the fan. Hopefully there's no hidden screws underneath the heatsink, because otherwise I'll have to redo the thermal paste. There's one screw up here for the motherboard. We'll take that out. Okay, I'm just lifting lightly to see where it's being held down. There's another screw down here. Okay, and they actually have a little arrow pointing to it so you know where the screws go. I don't know if there's an arrow on this one. Oh, there is, but it's covered by all these wires. Okay, so does this lift up? Is there something else holding it? I think it's just these wires that are kind of holding it down. So to be honest, we might need to remove the LCD LVDS connector here, but that might already be enough that we can lift this up to pull this connector out, but then pushing the new one in is going to be somewhat of a pain. You see how we can kind of see in there? Let me see if I can show this. Right, we can kind of see in there. If I pull this forward, you can see that connector, so you can kind of like wiggle it side to side and then pull on it, and it should eventually wiggle itself out. So I'm going to try and do that so I don't have to pull the entire motherboard out. There we go, and you can see the connector only goes one way. The two reds go towards the charge port side, and the black wires go towards the LCD LVDS connector. Okay, pushing it back in, we're going to have to basically just get that in there and then use a little tool to push it back down. I kind of want to see behind this board just to see what's underneath. Usually if I really wanted to see what's there, because I'm wondering if there's more RAM, replaceable RAM. I do see, yeah, there's 2 slots for RAM underneath this side of the board, it looks like. So should I take this all out? No, there's more risk that I can damage other things by doing that. So if you're wondering why I don't just take everything apart, that's why. Okay, I don't want to introduce more risk into the repairs than I need to. So that's why I don't completely take things apart if I don't have to. Okay, some people watch my videos and they're like, you didn't show this, and it's like, I know, because of that reason. Okay, so here's the replacement. Want to make sure that these cables look the same. Okay, pretty much things line up. Okay, so we're gonna have to line this up, push that new connector in, and then hopefully we should be good to go. Alright, so we gotta line this cable up here. I don't know what I'll be able to show because it's gonna be tough to have this on camera. I'm gonna kind of bend the wire like this, okay, so that way it can curve down and go into the socket. And you want to make sure this goes straight into that connector. So I wiggled it and it's kind of holding itself in place, but now we need something to push this down in. So I don't know how I'll be able to show this because I can't tell while I'm pushing on it if it's in view of the camera, but hopefully you guys can see. So I'm going to use the flat end of this to push on the outside white portion there, and just try and push this straight down. Okay, and we can try going left to right, left to right. Okay, and eventually I should feel it kind of push completely into that socket. Actually, I'm not sure, it might already be in the socket as much as it goes. I'm now holding underneath the board here, okay, just so I have a place to kind of help hold it up, and then I'm going to try push that in. Looks like it's going down more. So I know, sorry, it's really hard to film this, but hopefully you're able to see. So I'm going left to right. Okay, and that's basically rocking it back into place, like how when I pulled it out, okay? And then once I feel it's not really moving anymore, then I think we should be good to go. I think it's already good. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, I can't really show like how far it's down, but the middle portion, it's like lower than the starting cut slot. So this little piece, the edge of this, it's lower, so the slot goes like that around it, and this goes further in, so that part of the outside is sticking up. All right, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. All right, so now we got this. I need to figure out, does the charge port need to go in a certain direction? Let's see. Okay. I think the way this port is designed, it actually, at least for this one, I don't know if they're all designed like that, but this wire comes out straight up, and this little plastic thing, it kind of goes into this little notch here. So I don't know if you see that notch there. That wire is going to go in there. So that looks good. Yeah, this side is missing the metal piece, so I'm probably going to put some hot glue in this area here just to hold it in place. But for now, let's go ahead and get some of these screws back in. There weren't many screws holding the board down, so yeah, somewhat nice design. Let's go ahead and get this screw on top of the fan one in. Okay, then the other fan screw over here. Make sure that all the screws on this side line up, because you don't want that crooked. So make sure that if you can wiggle this, that it's lined up so that the screw holes aren't like crooked, because otherwise if those screw holes are crooked and you go to screw everything back down, you might end up screwing it down into the motherboard or the logic board, whatever you want to call it. Oh, this technically is a motherboard because there's all the replacement pieces you can put on it, and you can attach this little daughter board to it. Okay. Alright, so we'll get this other screw in. Okay, then we just need to route the wires around. Again, I'm going to get some hot glue for this. See how this thing is just going to fall out. Yeah, I don't think you can really put this any other direction, so it's going to be going up like this, which I feel is kind of weird. Make sure that this cable is like not getting too much stress at this one point there. So I'll put it like this, and then the excess slack, because this wire is longer than the original, we're going to have to just tuck it over here, okay, around where the fan is. If you want, you can put some tape there, but I mean, as long as you just make sure it stays there, so that when you put the cover back on, then you should be okay. Again, I'm going to go get some hot glue now to secure this into place, just so it doesn't wiggle around. And yeah, I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. One thing I noticed with this, the design is actually very simple. So I can actually repair this charge port. Let me see here if that will be easily doable. Okay, you can see there's the 3 red wires here, okay? And then the 3 black wires over here. Oh, they might be kind of short, so could probably do it. Probably won't be too bad. I wonder, I could probably do this and then return the other charge port, but then I would have to take it back out again, which wasn't too big of a deal. So maybe I'll do that. Let's see. This is the black wire, and then we got the red. The red is going to the middle one. The red goes to this middle post, and then the black goes to the outside post here. So basically we need all 3 of these wires to get soldered directly to this, and then the black wire to get soldered to this piece. So let me see if I can peel more of this out. It looks like the black wire, they kind of already, yeah, they kind of already twisted all of that together. So let me actually repair this instead of getting a replacement. I think that might make more sense. So hopefully this will also be a more useful video to people, so you can actually quickly repair your computer instead of waiting to get parts. I know this isn't what you were looking for, but maybe you weren't looking for doing this extra work. Maybe if you don't have a soldering iron, then you can skip to the next part. But I'm gonna do this just because it's gonna be better, okay? So let me go ahead and get my soldering iron real quick here, and we're gonna get some solder, and we're gonna actually repair this instead of replacing it. So if I can repair this charge port, which I should be able to, I don't see why not, it doesn't look very complicated or anything, then that will be better, because then, yeah, you don't need to get that. I mean, if you don't have a soldering iron and all of that stuff, then maybe it'll be easier for you to just buy a replacement charge port. But at the same time, if you get these skills to learn how to solder, then over time that will actually be good for you as well. So it's up to you what portion of this video you want to use and how you want to do this. But I'm gonna record this portion as well. So again, if you want to just skip over this part of the video, feel free to do so. I'm gonna put this here, and we're gonna connect the soldering iron, and we'll get that ready. So yeah, let's get that heated up. Okay, set this aside for now here. Okay, so for the soldering iron, we want this sponge to have some water on it so that we can wipe off any of the excess gunk. That should be good enough. All right. Again, if you don't want to see how to solder, you can feel free to skip over this, but I figured this charge port looks repairable, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's more work, but yeah, in the long run, it can actually save you more. So this, if you can, we're going to try and get some of the rubber off of these red wires here. Okay, I can try and do it with this, but yeah, normally you would want to use like a wire stripper or something to cut the wire off, or cut the rubber part off, but I'm going to just grab this with my needle nose pliers. You can see I give it a little twist. So you see these wires now, they're exposed. Basically just grab the tip, twist it 90 degrees, and then pull. And you can see we can pull off some of the rubber. If it's still stuck, you can grab more and continue. Oops. Okay. Some of the rubber stuck below. Just be careful not to grab too hard because you don't want to rip the wires and make it even shorter and shorter. Okay, so here we go. We have the 3 red wires here. And we're gonna have to, some of these are shorter than the others, so that might be part of the reason it ended up ripping itself. Okay, you can see like this red wire is shorter than the other 2. So I'm actually gonna strip out more of the red shielding, or whatever you call this casing for the wire. Okay, I actually, see, I did what I said not to, and I accidentally broke the wire there. So I'm gonna have to strip this even further, and this wire is gonna get shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. That's what I get for trying to do both at the same time. Sounds like they're doing some sporting event at the school. Okay, let's go ahead and break that. Okay, now we have these 3, and I'm gonna kind of twist them together and fold that over. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to make this easier to do, I like to take some flux here. They have all different kinds of flux. This one's kind of like a thicker paste thing, but I like to put flux on the thing here. Okay, all right, and this basically helps remove the outer layer of oxidation and stuff so that the solder can actually stick to it easier. So what I'm going to do now, we have the soldering iron nice and hot. Let me actually zoom in here. We're going to clean the tip off. Okay, I put extra solder on it. I always put extra solder on it before storing it away, so that way it doesn't get all like rusty, corroded. Okay, and then where's the start of this solder wire? Okay, so here. So because we put the flux, we can actually burn off the solder, the rosin core in here, and it'll still stick okay to the part. So I'm gonna get this here so the solder sticks to the soldering iron. You see that? We have a ball of solder there. And then I'm gonna actually touch the solder onto this, and the solder should flow into the wires. Okay, so just like this. All right, and now the wires are coated with solder. Okay, a little bit of like some burnt stuff there. All right, so now the red wires are coated with the solder. We're going to do the same thing with the black wires, okay? All right, so we'll get the flux, rosin, whatever you want to call this stuff, onto there. I'm not a professional like solder whatever person, but usually I just like figure things out over time and learn. So if you have any other tips, I'm not doing things right, just let me know. But here we go. We'll again add some solder to this, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add the solder to this, the black wires, the negative or ground or whatever, well, positive and negative because it's DC. Okay, so now we have the solder on these two wires here, on the red and the black, and then we just got to solder this together here. So you can see how there's a giant blob of solder here and a thing of solder there. If you want, you can add more flux there to help it, but it should be okay because the solder is just going to stick to the other solder and it should flow very easily. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we have this. If you want, you can get like one of those helping hands things to help grab this. So I have these, I have this thing that will help hold the part in place. Okay, so I can use like this thing and make sure I have it oriented in the right direction. I'm going to use this clip to just hold it here. Okay. The other thing you can do is obviously you can ask someone to help you hold it, okay? Anyways, we're going to hold that there. And then we're going to go ahead and solder the wires in place. So we have the black one. We're going to just solder. Actually, let's do the red one first. I think that'll be easier. So I'm going to just melt this stuff. Ooh, this is going to take a lot of heat, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, my clip is kind of where it's spinning around. Okay, let's see. Let's melt this guy. Oh, it's going to take a lot of heat to melt this. Okay, it's melting. There we go. So you melt that blob and then stick this piece in there, and it should let go. Make sure, oh, what happened? It let go on its own. So let me hold it closer to here so that it can harden better while I'm holding it. Oh, 3 wires kind of separated from each other. I want them to stay together. Ooh, this is really hot. Wow, it's hard to, come on, stay in there. Maybe let me hold this with the needle nose pliers so that I can hold it closer to the wires so they stay together instead of separating. Let's go ahead and get this melted again. I might have to add more solder actually. Let's melt all 3 on there. Alright, so all 3 wires are melted. Hold it till it cools, and there we go. Alright, so now these 3 wires should be good. And now we gotta connect the black wire on the other side, so let's rotate this so it's easier to see. And then we gotta get the black wires attached to here. Okay, pretty simple. Heat that up till it melts, stick it on the bottom. Cool it down. Alright, and there we go. Now this piece is repaired. Alright, we got the negatives and the positives all soldered in place. Alright, there we go. That's what it looks like. So we should be good. Okay. Now let's go ahead and connect this into the board again. You already saw this part, so I'm going to pause and I'm just going to reconnect this because you don't need to see that twice. So I'll reconnect the thing, I'll pull the board back up, reconnect it, and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. Let's go ahead now and secure this thing into place. We already put all the screws back in. Okay, so this same thing, we have this one side, we need to line it back up. Let's see what, we'll put less stress on the cord this way. So we'll line this back up, get it back in the little groove there. Okay, so hold that in place, and we're gonna now fill this area with hot glue. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. Alright, we got the hot glue gun nice and ready, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this in place and we're gonna fill this gap behind here. What was that? Okay. And we're just gonna fill that gap there. Okay, if you want, you can kind of put it in this area. Be careful not to overflow it too much, because if it's too high, then the cover isn't gonna sit properly. So now while it's hot, I can actually push down on it to keep it flat there. Okay, and obviously it's gonna burn me, but yeah, we wanna make sure this stays flat. Okay, you can see now it's secured flat there. And we're gonna also fill this area here where it broke off before. So I'm gonna fill this area. Okay, I know somebody's gonna say something about how it's close to the heatsink, it's gonna fall off or whatever. Don't worry, it's not. The heatsink doesn't get that hot. If your heatsink is getting hot enough to melt this hot glue, then your CPU is already fried, because these are very thin fins and they're designed to help dissipate heat really quick. It's not designed to hold and gather heat. The fan blows the air through there and basically cools it down super fast. Okay, so you don't need to worry about it holding heat there. That's not going to happen. All right, now that we got that side already done, I don't know how I can hold this to show this in camera, because I want the hot glue. So I want to kind of tilt it this way and then put the hot glue, but I can't hold it like that while I'm trying to record. So let me see. I'm going to put some along here and into the back here. I just want to make sure that this doesn't move around at all, because the old design, it kept moving around and that's how it broke. Okay, they actually broke the plastic off the side here. So yeah, all right, let's zoom out now and let's go ahead and reassemble this thing. I think we should be okay with it cooling down now. We don't really need to keep heating the glue or putting more glue. So let's go ahead and zoom out and put this thing back together. All right, so we got this. All right, let's zoom back in a bit. If you want right now, you can actually go ahead and plug the charger in to test it. So actually, let me go ahead and do that, because I did unplug it. So we'll plug it back in and see, make sure that it's actually going to charge or power the laptop. Okay, so we got that plugged in. And you can also use a voltmeter to test beforehand. But basically you want to make sure this isn't really wiggling around, and we'll plug this in. Oh, that didn't sound good. Is it the plastic that's jiggling, or? Let's see. Okay. Seems like it's okay. I don't know if the plastic was just jiggling. Let's see here. And scaring me. We'll push the power button and it's lighting up. So we should be good to go. Alright. Obviously it's saying there's no bootable device because there's no hard drive plugged in there. Since we took it all out, so we'll turn it back off. There's no battery and it's only being powered by this. So let me make sure nothing is weird happening here. Wiggle it around, make sure it's good. Okay, and we should be good to go to reassemble this. Okay, let me just make sure. Wiggle it around. I want to make sure if this cable, something else is broken inside, we might need to replace it, but oh yeah, I do see some like arcing there. So I think we're gonna have to replace the cable because probably internally in this charge port, it might be bad as well. So let me wiggle it around a bit more just to make sure. Yeah, so I think actually the charge port itself is bad, or like internally, since it cracked that bad, there's probably cracks inside. So I guess I wasted that time showing how to solder it, but I mean it works. All right, you can see it's doing it's still turning on, checking media, and then it's gonna say there's no hard drive, but it works. So I don't know. The thing is though, if it wobbles, it might unplug itself. Actually, interesting. It's staying on, so oh, looks good. Let me put the cover back on and then we'll see. I think it should be okay. I'll wobble it around a little more. Maybe it was because the hot glue in between the connections. I should have actually wrapped the thing. Yeah, let me actually, I'm gonna just replace the charge port because I don't want to have that risk of sparking and then something go wrong. So we're just gonna pull this back out. Okay, again, hot glue is nice. You see how it just forms to what you want, and then you can just pull it out. Or is it short? Oh, it's shorting on there. So let me actually put a little hot glue on this to prevent it from touching the case. Wow, that could have actually been bad. Okay, so we're gonna put a little stuff to shield that from there, from the bottom case, because we don't want it to short. Okay, and that's actually what was happening. All right, good thing I tested that. We're gonna test it some more afterwards just to make sure. So we'll slot this back into place. Oh, it's gonna be hard to do now since I can't see with all the glue in the way, but let's see. Okay, line that up, stick that down, make sure it cools down while we hold it. Okay, this one, it doesn't have as long of a cable, so it's good. It's not like sticking out into anywhere, so just tuck it back in the right place. And then we're gonna test it again to make sure it's not gonna spark or arc, because yeah, we don't want that happening for the customer, okay? All right. And good thing it was just shorting into the ground of this laptop casing, okay? Nothing electrical. So there we go. Now we have that. Wiggle, wiggle, and no more sparking, arcing. All right. Let's go ahead and make sure that it's still powering on properly. And yes, the laptop is starting up again. And again, it's saying no bootable device. Okay, so we'll turn it off. Turn it back on one more time. Okay, and again, no bootable device. Oop. Let's wait a little bit, power it up. I'm going to hold the power button. I'm surprised it doesn't show the Toshiba, it just goes straight to the no bootable device. Okay, I think it wasn't, yeah. So it just says no bootable device. Let's see what happens if I do Control Delete. It says Please restart the system. Alright, so we'll unplug the power. We'll plug it in again. Power it up again. And let's see if it does the same thing. And again, no bootable device. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the hard drive in. Or sorry, not just the hard drive. We'll put everything back in. Alright, so line this back up. That gave me a little scare. You want to be careful with that kind of stuff. This kind of stuff I leave in so you know what to be careful of and avoid. Hopefully this helps you out. Alright. Did we reconnect everything else? We did. Again, there are 2 slots for RAM underneath. If you're wondering what type of RAM, let me see right here. This is... Okay, so this uses DDR3 RAM, okay? So you should be able to put whatever DDR3 RAM. Again, it has 4 slots, so that's very nice. 4 slots for RAM, and then 2 slots for hard drives. Again, you can actually also upgrade the CD drive to another hard drive slot if you really wanted to. So lots of room for storage, lots of room for battery. Okay, very good design. The only thing is I wish they put all 4 slots of RAM on top, not underneath the board. Okay, but you can see how cramped it is here, so they had to decide what to put. Alright, so we got all of that in. We're going to go ahead and slide the hard drive back in as well, so line that up, and then slot this. Okay, line that up, slot that in. Good. Yes, I'm putting the hard drive before I put the other screws. You don't really need to put the other screws first, but you can if you want. Okay. Get the hard drive screws in. Alright, then we got the screws that were underneath here. So we had, let's see, we got this guy. We got this guy. We got this guy. Okay, we got this guy. We got this guy. Then we have the CD drive, optical disc drive. Oh, don't forget the 2 screws that go underneath it. This one over here. And this one over here. My customer's probably like, what's taking so long? Alright, then we got the CD optical disc drive. Slot that in. Okay. We'll get this screw in. Alright. Okay, then we can go ahead and put the bottom cover back on. So get these in first, then we're gonna go ahead and put the bottom clips down here. So push that. You need to kind of push it up that way as you push down. Same thing with this, you push it inwards as you push down. Okay, just like that. Get it all in. Get this screw back in. Good. Okay, we'll get this screw in. These screws again go deep down in there. I wonder what happened with the 2 outer screws. Let me see if I have some matching screws that I can put. They seem to be the same size, so all the bottom screws seem to be the same size, so I'm going to see if I have some ones that I can replace there. Because to me, usually these corner screws are important because they actually help hold the hinge in place. But this design's actually pretty good, so it seems to not really be too much of an issue that those screws are missing. But I kind of want to find screws that fit there just to be safe. Okay, found some screws. We'll go ahead and put those in. Hopefully they're the right length. Sometimes the ones that hold the hinges are longer. Oh, that didn't seem to work right. Yeah, I think the hinge screws are supposed to be longer. Okay, it grabbed a little bit of the thing and then it stopped grabbing. So looks like the hinge screws need to be longer. Maybe that's why they got lost. I don't know if I have longer screws though. I don't know, maybe this one, but nope, it's like the same length. Okay, oh, here's one. Do I only have one? Oh no, it's just barely longer, so I don't think it's gonna work. It kind of holds, but barely. I mean, barely holding is better than nothing, right? Okay, but I don't know if I have another one of those. Sorry, I know this isn't like part of the actual repair. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have any other screws that are that long. Those are really long. Sadly, I don't think I have any other screws that are that long. Maybe this one. Yeah, the screws I found that they're just barely longer than the original ones, so I don't know. It kind of holds. Okay, we'll just make sure to tighten it well. Again, it's better than no screw. So I'll put that. Alright, we got those already. Put this guy in. Let's get all the rest of those screws. We'll power it up and make sure everything works. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their device as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. Again, I also have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. Same profile picture, but zoomed in because it's like a close look at things, review of stuff, right? Currently, I am putting those videos on this channel as well, but again, I hope to eventually have them all just on that channel. So, yeah. Anyways, I know this video, I record everything unedited, unfiltered. You can see everything. If something goes wrong, I leave that in the footage because I don't want people to make the same mistakes. So you can watch and see what goes on, and I don't like hide the stuff that go wrong. I think most people, when they record videos, they try and like want to make everything look perfect and they want to hide any issues that happen. So if they break the computer, they're probably not even going to upload the video. They're going to be like, oops, let me not upload that because I don't want people to know that I messed up. But to me, that's also important because that helps people learn and helps people understand what to avoid, what not to do. And yeah, anyways, let's get the battery in. It goes in at an angle. And click that down. I know some people that watch this are going to be like, oh my god, you like almost fried their computer. But again, it's always good to kind of show that stuff. So here you can see inside here, if I want, I can actually fill this whole gap with some strong glue or with more of the hot glue to make sure that it doesn't move around. So let me actually heat that up. I don't really need to put that part in the video, but let me make sure. We're going to plug in the laptop, make sure it's working okay, and then we should be good to go. All right. So we'll plug this in, wiggle it around, make sure it's not arcing, sparking. Okay, here you can see. Okay, no more arcing, no sparking. Basically the positive wire was touching the metal part housing of the laptop. Okay, I didn't expect that to be metal right underneath it, so I was like, what is going on? All right, anyways, we'll go ahead and power this up. Okay, power light's on, screen is coming on, and the Toshiba logo is on. and you can see it's booting now. Alright, so we should be good to go. I'm glad that that grounding part of it didn't end up causing damage to the laptop. It was arcing there. So yeah, and it helped me make sure that everything was good. So good thing I tested it like that, wiggling it around to make sure, because if I sent it home with the customer like that and they're like, why is it sparking, that would not be good. Alright, so yep, it's good now. Again, I'm gonna fill this area with more hot glue to make sure it doesn't like wobble around, and then I'll ask them also if they want to upgrade this to an SSD, because that'll make it a lot faster. The boot time, you can see it's like just taking forever. It's a black screen right now and the caps lock is turning on, but it's going to take forever to actually show anything on the screen. So I want to see what the customer wants to do in terms of that. Also, you can see these lights are all on. So it's plugged in, it's charging. If I unplug it, it still works. All right, you can see it's on. Okay, and then we can plug this back in, and this light turns on to show it's charging. Again, this thing takes forever to boot. You see the mouse now? Yeah, it's gonna take forever. Anyways, hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye. Alright, and here's what it looks like in the end. I basically filled the entire thing with hot glue, and then I used a razor blade to shave it flat. I wrapped the outside portion of this with Kapton tape so that way it wouldn't stick to this, and then I twisted this out, shaved this smooth, and then to get this nice clean finish, I used a lighter to heat it up so that it would melt any of the uneven stuff off, and then now that it's set, it's good to go. You can see it fits perfectly. There you go.